So today we are going to speak about failures. Failures are a very indispensable part of one's life because whenever one aims to achieve something, one is bound to one aims at achieving something, one is bound to achieve or look at failures. Yeah, because very simple reason is failure and success are actually the two sides of the same coin. Um, when one fails, it mostly is because one is not able to or skilled enough to handle a situation, and hence the outcome of the situation isn't as per what one wants. It's very interesting to see each failure as an opportunity to learn some lessons. For example, the first time you cook, right? And let's say even if you're making tea, and you will understand that the flavor of the tea is not how you want it. So even though you may fail at making that tea, but you learn, from the outcomes, what can be done better, and you try again, and then you try again till you get the flavor that you want. And then you can say that, okay, now maybe I can make tea properly, right? So failures always are a part and parcel whenever you take up an action. Our intelligent thing is to not repeat the same mistakes. For example, again, let's take the tea as an example, right? So if we are, we know that it's a bit strong in taste, wherein we know that the tea powder is more. The next time when we make the tea, we'll ensure that we put the tea powder less, right? um, and hence the change, right? um, a better way of, um, whenever one undertakes any action, is to have um, planned strategy behind it, uh, so that one achieves a certain percentage of an outcome instead of just going in blindly. For example, again, when we are making tea, let's take tea as an example again. When we are making tea, if we know that, for 2 cups of water, you take like half a cup of milk, and then you take 2 teaspoon of sugar, and let's say you take 1 tablespoon of um, the tea powder, and then you boil it, let's say, for 3 to 4 minutes on medium flame. And then you will see, when the color changes from, light brown to mid brown, and you understand that, okay, this is the time when I need to stop and pour down the tea. What happens in such a case is that you have taken planned decisions, because of which you may be able to achieve better results than just going ahead and doing it spontaneously. So there are a lot of variables associated that can cause you to fail, right? Could be that the gasoline isn't enough, so the flame is low, and hence it takes more time, and hence the taste isn't what it is. So there are a lot more subtle and hidden factors that contribute to the failure than the more apparent one. So one needs to be smart enough to see those subtle factors in addition to seeing the very, very apparent factors, and thereby addressing the subtle factors as well. It could be that one of the subtle factors I said, it would be like the gasoline being less. Second could be people driven, like for example, you need to rush somewhere and you just have 10 minutes, and or maybe you just have 3 minutes and it may take 4 minutes for the tea to cook, and hence you'll not get the result, a desired flavor, right? So subtler factors contributing for your chances of failure should also be paid attention to. What does failures teach us? Well, it teaches us to be humble. It teaches us to recognize that you are not in control. It also helps us to realize that maybe we need more skill the next time when we undertake an action or a goal to complete. And hence, in a lot of countries, when ventures are taken up, in fact, failures are encouraged. Why so? Because if one sees instantaneous success, there is a very good chance that the person may not be able to have the experience to handle and thereby sustain success. So it's a good way to look at it. When we fail a couple of times, we understand the need to succeed and thereby we value it more. And hence, when we become successful, we are able to sustain in life. However, in a longer run, if you see, let's say again, let's take the example of making tea. You realize that maybe after the fifth attempt, you're able to make good tea. And let's say you're making tea for 10 years. So when you take the time scale in perspective, you will see that some months maybe you make good tea, while in some you do not, right? So success and failures become a function of time. And hence, in the longer run, failures doesn't matter. However, one needs to be aware in order to assess the situation moment to moment. Because as I said, that every moment is different, every situation is different, every variables that come together to make an event happen is different every time. So we need to be aware and skillful and humble and strategic when we take our, even though we are doing the same action every day. Failure teaches us to look beyond our abilities, to search for the alternatives, to search for newer ways of thinking and the newer ways of execution. Corona or COVID is one of the major examples that all of us can think of, wherein the complete economy of the globe just went online, and it did continue. So it says that calamity is the the mother or the harboring ground for creativity. When in venture capital terms, when we say that the runway is less, that is the time we re-strategize to prioritize our resources and investments and come up with strategies that will give us an additional bandwidth or more runway by a couple of months. So 5 things if we have to take back when we fail is that realize that you're bigger than the problem. What happens is when you realize you're bigger than the problem, you're able to fight it better. Second, know that it is an opportunity for you to learn and grow and become a better person. This will give you the needed stamina to go through your failures without being heartbroken and bitter. Third, take every failure as a stepping stone to success. Always remember, even when we look at nature, there are ample example that tells us that every time one fails and one restarts, one does become successful. Example is a child learning to walk for the first time. So it's a stepping stone to success. Third, or the fourth, is realize that every failure is indeed a challenge to your skill set, allowing you to grow, learn, and acquire more skill set to solve the problems. And always remember to be aware and ever present to recognize the subtle factors and the apparent ones that causes a failure that will help you to solve the problems with today's solution, because know that no problem of today can be solved from yesterday's solution. So being aware is very, very important. So much for today.